From LALATE headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons LALATE.
It's a big afternoon of Afternoons LALATE with incredible great details about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. In today's recording, we'll go over that monthly stimulus check and why you're likely to get more months of checks. Then we go to the deal of the recon. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to the American people. I'll go over what some of these checks are. The deal has been solidified. It's the recon, it's the reconciliation, and you're getting $3.5 trillion of checks. I'll go over what some of those items are. And then the third part of this video, we go over the bipartisan, the infrastructure, the roads and bridges set for a vote this coming week, which means that your money will be set for a vote as well. It's getting very exciting. I will also go over not one, but two potential Plan Bs. And then we cut to Fistimals, which raises your benefits up if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, and railroad benefits. And then finally, the big money across the board. As one viewer reports, the second largest payout ever in the last 60 days for rent in this channel, $18,000 gotten by one viewer in the last 48 hours. I'll go over that success story and why you are going to be the next success story. It's a big afternoon, it's a big day, and there's a lot of money to get. I'm going to go over all the details right this afternoon, starting right here, right now, direct from Santa Monica, California, on Afternoons LALATE. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. How you doing? Hope you're having a beautiful weekend. And boy, it has been an incredible set of developing details about your fourth stimulus check. But first, how's the weather? It got hot, it got cooler, and finally cooled down. It was beautiful this morning after a blistering, confusing day of weather yesterday here in Southern California. Tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. We have so much breaking news in today's broadcast for Afternoons LA. We're going to go over the check and why the Democrats are likely to give you more months of checks. Then we go to the deal. Recon, it's done. The price tag, the deal provisions. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to the American people. I'll go over some of those checks for you. There's checks for every walk of life, including my seniors and also my workers. And then we go to the vote. There's a vote set for next week, and this is for the bipartisan, for the roads and bridges, for the infrastructure. But does that set up a vote for our stuff as well? And then is there not one, but two Plan Bs? Then finally, we cut to fifth stimulus, which raises your benefits up. As promised during the campaign trail to my veterans, to my seniors, I'll go over all this incredible great news. And then the big money across the board. Nisi getting $23,000 for his channel. John, 12. Louis, 18. And overnight, a massive success story. $18,000 for rent, the second biggest payout we've seen in the last 60 days. I'm going to go over how you can get this big money as well. And this is LALATE, America's only 24-hour day, 7 days a week, financial news channel in America, live in the morning and taped in afternoons, and as reported, broken to you yesterday in the reporting. Now expanding its slate of programming, with now shows on the hour nearly every 2 hours, 24 hours a day, starting in August. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record, fastest growing channel of its kind in the globe. I want you part of this channel, hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 3,000 likes, every like helps, and consider becoming a member. Let's get into this monthly stimulus check starting right now. House bill, Senate proposal, both monthly, but when you look at the payouts, they are different based upon the implications of the pandemic. House bill, pandemic plus 1 year, Senate July to December. Both monthly stimulus checks. Let's look at the payouts. House, $1,000 after the first month, $2,000. Senate monthly unknown, but word on the street is it's this. Deliciousness, $2,000 over 6 months, $12,000, or $1,400 over 6 months, $8,400. I would say 4 weeks ago, many thought the pandemic may be considered over for these legislators, which would mean the House bill would just reduce you to 12 months of checks. 3 weeks ago, it was certainly clear the pandemic was not over. 2 weeks ago, it was very clear the pandemic's absolutely not over. And this last week, the pandemic was on a tear. Delta cases ravaging in 50 states across the country, signaling pandemic ain't over. House bill would likely pay more than just 1 year. It would pay more than 12 checks now, which would be more than $13,000. Compare that to this. I think you have an opinion. I think you have an opinion. Jump in the live chat right now and vote House or Senate. Vote House or Senate and tell me where you're tuning in from and how the weather is. Well, things have changed, but the fourth stimulus check would still come to those who got a third stimulus check the Democrats represent. Single individual, $75,000 less, you get a fourth stimulus check. Married couple, $150,000 less, you get a fourth stimulus check. Democrats represent. Double it. Family of four, Democrats represent, you get a fourth stimulus check. Quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, Democrats represent, you get a fourth stimulus check. SSI, SSDI, and VA, and everyone else. The fourth stimulus check would be the same amount for adult dependents and everyone else. The fourth stimulus check is not income, so it's not taxable. And the fourth stimulus check is not waivable. It's not a check that comes in waves. It comes on a monthly basis. So if this evening you do go to Mitch's Lobster Fest and you walk up to Mitch like I did, say, hi, Senator McConnell, how are you? It's LA. Oh, hello, LA. How are you? Good, I wanted to wave at you. Sorry, LA, I'm not a waivable check. Well, I know that, Mitch. You're not even a monthly check either. Well, get out of here, LA. Yeah, it was Jalapal who invited me to that party. So anyway... Mitch is neither a waivable check, nor a monthly check, nor ever a check. So there you go. The fourth stimulus check would come in the month of July, for the month of July. And in the month of August, for the month of August, from the second half of this video, we're going to go over the $3.5 trillion deal. The recon will be delivering to you $3.5 trillion of checks. No question whether you're getting checks now. You're getting checks. You're getting $3.5 trillion of them. There's a couple zeros in there, so we'll keep track of how many zeros there are. But in the second half of this video, we'll go over all the exciting news about those checks, what those checks are for. It's for everyone. It's for you. It's for everyone. Remember, this is fourth stimulus. This is not third stimulus. Third stimulus is children. We're beyond that. Catch up. We're 6 months beyond that. We're on to fourth stimulus. And then in the third part of this video, we go over the vote. The vote set for next week. It's the bipartisan. It's the infrastructure, the roads and bridges. But with that vote set, does that mean that our money will be set for a vote before that? It's getting exciting. But here's a preview of the second half of this video. It's fifth stimulus. I'm not going over fifth stimulus for the check. I'm going over for my seniors and for my beneficiaries. They waited for this while campaigning on the campaign trail. The president said they were going to get it. They didn't get it. Then during the transition papers, promised them. They didn't get it. Now it's happening. Yes, this is fifth stimulus. It's fall. Raising your benefits up for SSI, SSDI, Social Security and Railroad benefits, and a new benchmark. But was that benchmark impacted by the changing fluctuations of the 10-year Treasury note and the labor numbers last week? I'll explain all the details. But first, let's get some money. Boy, you're killing it. If you got in rent from this channel, post in the live chat right now. If you got in Snap, post it. Utilities, post it. Post your success stories in the live chat right now. This is what this channel does, and your numbers have been absolutely through the roof. Let's recap. I had been reporting that I can get you $5,000 of rent, 46 months of rent. Viewers are getting $20,000 of rent, like Nisi. And the viewer in the last 48 hours, $18,000. Yes. Second highest payout we've seen in a very long time on this channel for rent. Then we turned to utilities. I said $300 to $3,000. Viewers are getting $3,000. Then when we turned to Snap, I said $5,000 to $6,000. Viewers are getting $10,000 to $18,000. What's going on? It's you. But this is what this channel does. This is a check cashing channel, not a check tracking channel. We don't do when. We do give it to me now. Not 5 weeks from now, not 5 months from now. Let's go over all the credible details. When this channel launched, people were not getting their EIDL loans or EIDL grants. And there was no check to track. But I stepped in, I got $25 million of EIDL loans and checks to cash, the most ever on recorded history. Then in fall of 2020, second stimulus was not passing. It was not law yet. So there was no check to track again. But I got $250,000 of money for rent. For viewers like Tyrone, family of four out of Boston, $15,000 of rent, paid all his rent from December to May, took care of him beautifully. Now we're doing the same thing. The only difference is you're killing it. Get a pen and paper ready because I'm going to go over all this big money. If you've not got to the money, today is your day. And continue to post your success stories in the live chat if you've got the money. Let's start with rent. Each place has different eligibility, but what we're going to go over is rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and homeowners utilities. Are you ready? Each place has different eligibility. Reach out to one. If one says no, reach out to the next. Here we go. You're going to reach out to your city hall, your city housing authority, your county hall, your county housing authority, your state hall, your state housing authority. The keywords apparently are very helpful, viewers tell me, in getting their money approved. Keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. You don't say words they don't know, like stimulus or Mitch's waivable check. Yeah, I said that. I got thrown out of the party. So don't get thrown out of the party unless you really do want to get thrown out of the party. And I don't mean political party. I mean the lobster party. There you go. And congratulations to Tim and Linda who got this wonderful bottle money. And that is your money for rent. If you got rent, post in the live chat. If you got utilities as well. Let's go now to Snap. John got $10,000 to $12,000 for Snap. Yes, John, congratulations. Louis, $18,000. Yes, Louis, congratulations. What is Snap? It is money for food. How do you get it? Department of Agriculture. Eligibility is easier than even a stimulus check. Lynn Glenn got it for herself, her son, and her mom. Gail got it as well. How much is it? A fortune. A family of four out of Boston gets paid now, Hawaii gets paid now upwards of $16,000 a year for SNAP, which is money for food. Why so much money? Because of two wonderful executive orders, one from Biden, one from Trump, that raise your benefits up 15% between now and December. So go get it. You're killing it. We're killing it. $15,000, $16,000 for SNAP for a family of four out of Hawaii, $5,000 of rent, which is, heading to the sky. Viewers now getting $20,000 for rent and $18,000 for SNAP, and we are only 11 minutes in this video. I got more money for you right now. It's coming back from your states. The states have been ordered to return money back to you due to overpayment of unemployment benefits. Congratulations. One viewer got $3,000, one got $5,000. If you got this as well, jump in the live chat. Where's this landing? Direct deposit. When? Reach out to your state and say, hey, state, can you track that unemployment check due to computer error? And can you track it with a computer that actually works? And finally, the refund check back from IRS. This is the refund check on that payment of your 2020 unemployment benefits. Margaret got it, Cog got it, Michael got it. But others of you are getting it because it's a waivable check. Sorry, Mitch. This one's waivable. IRS confirms that the latest wave went out and there'll be a new wave next week. The average amount for this wave refund was $1,265. Wow, deliciousness. Direct deposit started July 14th, and those with mailed paper checks began July 16th, and another wave starts this week. So if you are on the beach and you see the IRS, no, we're not going to do that. Don't wave at the IRS on the beach. There you go. Well, where's it landing? How much, when, and where? Let's go over all the details. Let's say you had $9,000 of unemployment benefits. You paid $5,000 of total taxes, of which $4,000 was your taxes on unemployment benefits. Congratulations, you're getting back $4,000. Where? Direct deposit, otherwise in the mail. And finally, can you track it? Yeah, 70% of the time you can. Go to irs.gov. Do a transcript search. It'll reveal stuff you never knew. It'll reveal stuff that Mitch does not want you to know. It'll reveal the taxes in your file, the taxes you pay. It'll reveal when Mitch appeared on Star Search. What was his talent in the talent competition? Say no. It takes a real talent to constantly say no. Mitch, no. Mitch, no. Can you say it with another inflection of the voice? No. Thank you, Mitch. You're going to the semifinal round. There you go. And finally, we'll reveal the refund check you're getting back from IRS. Can we top that? We can't. As we go into the second part of your fourth stimulus check updated 2021, starting right now. Deal done. You're getting $3.5 trillion of checks under the fourth stimulus recon. Yes, congratulations. These massive checks are for all walks of life. And this is not a video about children. That's third stimulus. This is fourth stimulus. I know where the confusion comes from. I've seen over the weekend that a lot of YouTube channels are putting children's checks from third stimulus with the title fourth stimulus. Not my confusion. I try to clarify things on this channel. Fourth stimulus is checks for you, and there's $3.5 trillion of them. And the Democrats have agreed upon the price tag, and they've agreed they're passing it. All they have to do is vote on the actual bill. How did they get this achievement? They shrunk the recon. There was a movie with this, Rick Moranis, beautiful movie, very funny. Honey, I Shrunk the Recon. They had a recon that was this big, took roads and bridges out and shrunk it, and that gave you a smaller recon, which became passable. What does passable mean? It means if you call for a vote, it would be passed. Now, when Chuck and Nancy said they're going to get it done by July 4th, that was when the roads and bridges was originally in there. They asked their Democrats, they said, no, I will not vote in favor of it by July 4th because that roads and bridges is in there. I will vote against it. So that's why it couldn't get it done by July 4th. It was not going to pass by Democrats. No one was going to vote in favor of it. Now it's passable. And that confirmation comes from conservative publications, even in an op-ed. Those conservative publications say that the higher the top line was price tag on the recon before, the harder it was to pass. There you go, confirmation. But by allowing the Democrats to take out some of the spending from the recon and put in the bipartisan, roads and bridges, it made the overall price tag of the recon smaller, obviously. In other words, the bipartisan deal made the recon passable. Sorry, Mitch, sorry to set you up. But, it really wasn't a setup. It was sort of a love fest because the Republicans are adoring this bipartisan. That's why the vote is set for it next week. That's coming up in the final 15 of the final 7 of this video. In the final 15 minutes of this video, I'll go over these final 7 days, potentially, of the four symbols battleground. Well, once the Democrats had shrunk the recon by taking roads and bridges out, they could raise it up a little bit more till they got a price tag they liked. $3.5 trillion. And that is a huge number. Representative Ilhan Omar previously had said they had got to give us a recon that goes as far as we want it. Well, you got it, Elon. Congratulations, $3.5 trillion. And then Representative Richie Torres said we have to have it linked to a larger recon. You got it, Richie. $3.5 trillion. And the progressives were meeting with the White House daily to ensure that the recon went big enough. You got it, $3.5 trillion. How did they get this place? Because the president had told the progressives to really protect the recon and everything in there. It worked because everything in the recon survived. That they consider the progressive priorities, the White House, the White House considers the progressive priorities in the recon its own priorities, said Jalapal and others. What is the recon? What is the recon also called? When is the recon actually debuted? How do they write it? How do they vote on it? Let me go over all those details. Let's first start with terms. You hear only 2 terms on this channel. First, you hear recon, your money, and then you hear bipartisan, roads and bridges. Pretty easy. And hence, you only see 2 terms on this channel. The problem is that broadcast media and the president use other terms. Let me go over them. Recon is also called reconciliation, also called the budget bill. You'll recognize the recon by the price tag, $3.5 trillion. You'll recognize it by the people quoted in the articles, like Jalapal, Bernie Sanders. Bipartisan, totally different words, different price tags, different people. Bipartisan, also called roads and bridges, also called infrastructure. You'll recognize it by the price tag, $1.5 trillion. You recognize it by the people that are quoted in the article, like a Kristen Sinema, Democrat, a Republican like Ron Portman or Mitt Romney or Lisa Murkowski. There you go. So what is the recon? How do they vote on it? When do we see it? What are all the details? First, what is a recon? Recon stands for reconciliation. There's both a substantive and a procedural recon. We're going over the substantive one in this video. The substantive recon is written by Democrats for Democrats to be passed by Democrats. GOP members have nothing to do with the writing of the recon. I had a hilarious moment over the weekend where some viewer reached out to Susan Collins to ask, what's in the recon for me? That's like asking Mitch, how do they do Amazon hair in East London? He doesn't know. That's like asking Nancy, how do I air tag you? She doesn't know. She doesn't run air tag. They don't run Amazon hair. So who writes the recon? The actual writers, the authors, are subcommittee members. Lead authors are House subcommittee members, and then secondary are Senate subcommittee members. Under the Constitution, each House subcommittee is delegated different subject matters based upon what they're there for. So, for example, House Ways and Means are responsible for stimulus check writing, also unemployment benefits. When each of the subcommittees in the House are done writing, let's say 100 pages, let's say 10 pages with 10 subcommittees, they send them up to Chuck Schumer. At that point, Chuck has 100 pages, he combines it, and he puts a big bold S on it. Not for Laverne and Shirley. Not for Chuck Schumer, but for Senate. And that is your recon bill. At that point, you see the recon bill. And it is not done yet. At that point, the recon bill can still get modified during several steps of voting process coming up later in this video. So understand, when you see that recon, it's not a done deal. It's far from over. It can still get modified. Now, until you see that recon, you will not see it. That's sort of obvious. You will not see it nor know of it until you see it. It's sort of like a pop singer who has an upcoming album. You may have heard about what maybe some of the tracks are on there, but we don't see the tracks or hear them until the pop singer releases it. So, mainstream media and myself both agree upon this set of facts. We just don't have the recon yet. So if you do see someone jump anywhere in the discussion saying, I haven't heard in the recon that, well, that person is a bunch of nonsense, because the reason why you haven't heard is it hasn't been debuted. It's sort of like asking, when am I next? I've heard that Elon's second appearance on SNL is going to be brilliant. Well, he hasn't been invited yet, so don't go there yet. So there we go. How do we get to this wonderful spot? From Jalapa, who had written Schumer a letter saying, Chuck, call the vote. She also said, can you book me for Amazon here? The letter was signed by 12 House Democrats, part of 100-plus House Democrats who had written the president a letter earlier saying, we're going to be putting monthly forced stimulus checks in the forced stimulus package. Wow, that's a lot of people. It is. And later in this video, you're going to see that the House members are ready to modify whatever they get from the Senate. Oh boy. Can we top that? We can. As 7 House Ways and Means subcommittee members, the ones we just talked about, yes, wrote the president a letter recently saying we're putting monthly stimulus checks into the forced stimulus package. Wow, we got to keep them to their promise. Monthly stimulus checks? Oh boy. Purple Power, you got to keep these people their promise. Well, they wrote your 3rd stimulus check, and they also represent their right in your 5th. Can we top that? Yes. The president went overseas 5 weeks ago and did a ceremonial signature for 4 stimulus, but now it's formal. It's the global minimum corporate tax rate minimum. The most confusing tongue twister ever on the history of this channel. And why is this great news for the forced stimulus? Because this confusing thing is not in there. Literally, no joke. That's why it's great news for forced stimulus. Number 1, easier to write the forced stimulus because this confusing thing is not in there. Easier to call the vote on the stimulus because this confusing thing is not in there. Easier to vote on the stimulus because this confusing thing is not in there. And easier to pass the stimulus because this confusing thing is not in there. And can we top that? We can. In the final 15 and the final 7 of this video, we'll be going over the final 15 minutes of this video dedicated to the next 7 days. You are literally going to see left to right and over and under and over and around. There is literally going to be upwards of 20 to 50 permutations of what could happen this week, but there is a confirmed vote set for this week, which would set up a second vote. Oh, boy, we're going to go over all the incredible details. Breaking in the second half of this video. Then we cut to fifth stimulus, which raises your benefits up if you're a beneficiary. But first, something more wonderful. If you need help with rent, utilities, or internet SNAP, reach out to the volunteers. Now, if you have not posted your success stories in the channel, post them right now. When you post your success stories of rent, utilities, SNAP in the live chat, 3 things happen. Number 1, you inspire other people to get it. So if there's 1,000 people in the chat and there's 200 people posting success stories, other people say, wait, I should go get this money. Number 2, if you post your success stories and you reveal you got 2 or 3 or 4 items, that suddenly reveals to someone who got 1 to go get other ones. Like Art Sullivan, he has 3 items. You should be getting multiple items. Number 3, it inspires us and updates us as to numbers. So when we think SNAP of $4,000 a year is an achievement, then we see someone getting $18,000. We see how different numbers are at play. We also learn about other deliveries of sums of money, like the unemployment checks. But if you're having problems getting this rent, utilities, internet, SNAP, and you've tried to get it, don't worry, reach out to the volunteers. They're viewers just like you. Open in the description of this video. You'll see an emoji of a house. Click that link. It'll send you over to news.la.com/community. There, the volunteers are separated from Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Reach out to them, and they'll help you get that big money. Here's a little bit about them. I'll be back in 60 seconds with you with the final 15 of the final 7 and 5th stimulus. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. and then afternoons LA Late at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LA Late. And the excitement continues right now on Afternoons LA with huge details of the final 15 of the final 7. In the final 15 minutes of this video, we'll be going over these next 7 days, which will be absolutely critical for fourth stimulus. Then we cut to the exciting details of fifth stimulus. Did I say fourth stimulus? The final 15 of the final 7, critical for fourth stimulus. Then we cut to fifth stimulus, which raises your benefits up a lifetime. But first, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this channel. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 3,000 likes, every like helps, and consider becoming a member. Stay with this channel through the month of August as it expands its programming with shows every hour upon the hour nearly throughout the 24-hour run, daily across the board. You're going to see new shows coming back and new sirloins, and as also promised, a new stock program show as well, as financial coverage on this channel expands. Let's get right into fifth stimulus, which is what the president promised on the campaign trail, but had yet to deliver. And suddenly, the Democrats are doing it for you. They're going to raise your benefit limits up, remove the asset limit, add the inflationary benchmark, remove the marriage penalty, and remove the income exclusion. This is fifth stimulus. This was President Biden's promise through the campaign trail. He did not deliver it. And now the Democrats are taking care of it and putting it into fifth stimulus. How does this work? First, they'll raise your benefits up a lifetime. Who's you? You. If you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, SSA, or multiple beneficiaries, your benefits would raise up one time under fifth stimulus. Then they would apply a new benchmark. That new benchmark is inflation. And that benchmark would raise your benefits up for next year. They would apply the benchmark in December based upon a vote on the fifth stimulus in about October, November. That new benchmark inflation is heading up. How high? The highest point of the entire year will be in December. Yes, confirms Jay Powell, head of the Federal Reserve, last week and the month before on Capitol Hill. He says inflation is transitory, which means it's temporary, a temporary spike where it reaches its highest price point in December and before it goes back down. So this week, however, had a lot of strange, confusing news. There was the drop and rise of the 10-year Treasury note, and then the horrible unemployment number on Thursday. Do either of those impact inflation? No. Inflation gauges costs of goods sold, like milk, eggs, gasoline. And while the other items can impact it long term, they don't directly impact the number itself. Wall Street last week confirmed my number for inflation for December, 5%. So let's go over the analysis. First, your benefits will be raised up one time. Then they'll apply the benchmark. And if it is 5%, your benefits would step up 5%. Not just next year, a lifetime. Because once your benefits step up, they never step down. So if the inflation rate is 2% the year after that, you'll be at plus 5, plus 2%. Yes. Then they'll remove the income cap dating back to a 1960s law that says you can't work and stay on benefits. They'll remove the asset cap that prevents you from having more than $3,000 in hand. Now you have room to have some stimulus checks and some Crayola crowns in STO Cardinal Red. Sorry, Canute. And finally, you'll be able to see the end of the marriage penalty. Love is going to win. Love is going to win, and the marriage penalty is going to go out the door. You'll no longer be penalized because you're married, and the benefits will be restored across the board. There you go. That is fifth stimulus. Now, if you are watching this video and noticing people in the live chat that have a purple emoji next to their name of a purple hawk, and you don't have one, you need to get one. How do you get it? Go under this video where it says join here, or in the description where it says join as a member. By becoming a member, you're delivered daily all the breakdown of the big money under third stimulus. This is money for you, tens of thousands of dollars. You could be getting the big money being covered in this video. It's all application based. When second stimulus passed, and it was a $600 stimulus check, I said, yeah, but I'm going to get you $6,000. I got Tyrone $15,000. When third stimulus passed, I said, yeah, there's a $1,400 stimulus check. I'm going to get you $14,000. I got Nisi $23,000, and viewers, as you saw in this video, like Louis, $18,000 for Snap, and that other viewer, $18,000 for rent. So there we go. And with that, let's turn to the final 15 of the final 7 starting right now. With potentially just 7 days left to get this done, not that we're running out of time, but it looks like they can get it done in 7 days. What's going on? on. Here's the final 15 minutes, and we're starting first with the recon. Done deal. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to you under the fourth stimulus package. This is a done deal, ostensibly. Why? Because they've agreed upon the price, and they've agreed they're going to pass it, the Senate Democrats. So this is literally a done deal. All they have to do is call the vote. The recon is just checks of all type. As I said throughout this video, fourth stimulus is about everyone. Third stimulus was about children. I know a lot of YouTubers are making bad videos where they're putting the title fourth stimulus and children's checks in the same title. It just confuses the situation. Fourth stimulus has nothing to do about children's checks, as far as we know. But there are checks for you, for seniors, and also for workers. This deal provision was a big one for two reasons. One, as Senator Danny Kean reports, that once you agree upon the price tag, you're sensibly done. All you have to do is slide the items into the provisions. Number two, it's a huge amount of money. It gives the Democrats everything they want to spend money on to you. And as Bernie Sanders says, it was a champion day for the American people. He went in asking for double the amount of money, but agreed to half of it because he said he can just do the same amount in just half the amount of time, presumably. He said less than the amount of time, but it's clearly half the amount of time. So what are some of those checks? Here are some of them. This is not an exhaustive list, but this is some of them. And we've not seen the bill yet, but this is a preview. Free school meal checks for all, tax break checks, cheaper prescription medication checks, immigration reform checks, greener farming checks, money for elections checks, digital divide checks, which is internet checks so that the government will give you, will start free internet companies locally to give you free internet. And then checks for clean energy. Then we have tons and tons of other checks for my workers and my seniors. First, checks for workers, independent contractors, collective bargaining, unions, and then my seniors. Checks for them, Medicare expansion, eligibility age lowered, dental checks, vision checks, hearing care checks. Wow, incredible, great news. All right, let's turn now over to the bipartisan, roads and bridges. Mitt Romney, Ron Portman, both Republicans, both senators, very different people. Mitt Romney 2 weeks ago said that the vote would be done either last week or this week. I said not last week, too soon. Mainstream media agreed with me and clearly didn't happen. I said this week. Ron Portman, however, said this coming week. Well, what happened? This is what you need to know. Chuck Schumer called a vote last week to end discussion and negotiations only about the bipartisan roads and bridges, not to call a vote on the bill, but end discussion about it. I told you the vote was going to die. The vote was not going to pass, but I said I was going to put fire under people's feet to move up and get moving. Well, it worked. The vote failed, but it really moved the Republicans. Ron Portman, that same day, Republican senator, delivered to Chuck Schumer a letter from 11 Republican senators saying, we're calling the vote on the bipartisan roads and bridges next week, this coming week. Wow. There we go. Done. Now, when considering the two individuals, Ron Portman versus Mitt Romney, who do I put more weight in? Obviously, Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney has been detailed on this channel exhaustively over a year and a quarter since day one. Mitt Romney has delivered on dates, delivered on writings, delivered on promises. He just really delivers exactly what he says. Ron Portman, on the other hand, has been sort of a debacle of a senator over the last year. In last year, when people were losing their homes and their businesses and their cars, Ron Portman said, get back to work, you're lazy, I'm cutting off your unemployment benefits. That's Ron Portman. So engaging Ron Portman versus Mitt Romney, who would I put more weight in? Mitt Romney. So obviously I'm watching Mitt Romney and his assurances for next week. But with that, if the bipartisan goes for a vote next week, then guess what? You know the answer. The recon goes for a vote next week as well. Nancy, Chuck, everyone involved with the Democrats and the Progressives confirmed the recon goes for a vote before the bipartisan. So if the bipartisan goes for a vote next week, then the recon goes first. Yes, congratulations. Now, one thing that you've learned from this channel is the voting steps. This is a democracy. This is not an oligarchy or a dictatorship where someone writes something and a check goes out, or someone votes one time and a check goes out. No, we have a House, a Senate. There was a Schoolhouse Rock video when you're a young kid that told you how a bill becomes law. But in the case of a recon, it requires a few more steps. In the case of a recon, it has to start on this case, it's going to start on the Senate side, go to the House, then go back to the Senate for a 2-day vote-a-rama, presumably, and then off to the president. It will also have to call for a vote in the Senate subcommittees as well. It does not require a different day for every step. But this is what you need to know, is that it's not a one vote, one checkbook right, and then the check goes out. So no place or nowhere should anyone say what day is the vote on the bill for them to send out the money. It's not one vote. It's not one day, ever. That's not how the U.S. government works. All right. So with that exciting news, then what? Well, there's rumblings of a plan B. And there's two publications out there that both talk about the plan B. Yesterday, I talked about both of the publications. Today, I'm just going to talk about the one that I believe is true, which is the following. The Democrats believe that there is always the possibility that the Republicans will run out the clock, that they'll just waste time and say, I'm ready to vote, I'm ready to vote, I'm ready to vote, but I'll see you in 10 minutes, I'll see you in 30 minutes, I'll see you in 40 minutes, and then suddenly nothing goes for a vote. So the Democrats are attentive to that, and apparently it has happened to the Democrats by the Republicans over the last 15 years. So there is rumblings of a plan B. That plan B report is the following. Reportedly, what Chuck Schumer did last week was pull in all his Democratic senators, even the most problematic ones. And when asked if the Republicans tried to stall on calling the vote on the infrastructure, would you be open to calling the vote on the recon now with the bipartisan still not ready? And while if you had asked this question of them 3 weeks ago, they should say absolutely not. The bipartisan has to be ready. Reportedly, the tide has turned. And even the most problematic of senators have said yes. Yes. Oh my goodness, this is huge. That they will call the vote on the recon even if the bipartisan is not ready, because they do believe that any longer wait is inherently dragging a feet by the Republicans, and at this point would just be trying to derail you getting your recon. So that is incredible, great news. Next, let's understand that when we see that bill on the Senate side with that S on it, it is not a done deal. As I just described to you, senators have to vote on it, they can modify it. Then House has to vote on it, they can modify it. And then we have a 2-day vote-a-rama, senators can modify it again. On Friday, the House Democrats actually confirmed that they're not a cheap date. That was their exact expression, meaning that they intend to modify anything that they get. It's important for you to understand that while I talk about subcommittees in the House earlier, those aren't the whole House members. And if you're not on that subcommittee, you still want to have a bite at the apple and modify things. And they've actually indicated they want. So when you do see that recon bill on the Senate side, if it's correct, if it's not correct, they can still modify it the other direction. So you need to push Purple Power. We've been doing this since day one. When things are debuted, some things are not right, and we push back and make sure they're right. So remember to keep on pushing, because we have an emoji for this. Not law yet. Just bill, not law yet. And until it's law, things can get modified. To recap, this coming week, there is reportedly going to be a vote on the bipartisan the Republicans represent. If they are keeping their promise, then the Democrats will call a vote on the recon right before it. If the Republicans do not fulfill their promises, the Democrats reportedly are ready to call a vote on the recon just by itself. The recon has $3.5 trillion of checks to the American people, including you, and we will see as to how they're treating the stimulus check in there additionally when the bill is debuted on the Senate side. But that is far from a finality, because it can still get modified up, down, over, and around over those several steps until it becomes law. And there you go. I'll see you next on Evenings LA tonight at 5 o'clock. And stay with this channel, because Overnight's Crypto starts next. Meantime, don't miss Sirloin at 8 o'clock as well. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers a YouTube record. I want you part of the channel. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Thank you for joining me on our extended new programming schedule starting to roll out at this channel. With the new Throwback Afternoons LA at 1 o'clock, this is always the new schedule of programming, the new slot of breaking news, the 3 o'clock Afternoons LA show. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with LA for more.